Greetings, fellow dungeon dwellers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Mind Over Magic, Jade Dragon, Episode 3, Heading into the Dungeon. Alright, in order to build the medical beds, I need phoenix flowers, so I queued up these phoenix flowers, and I'm going to set them to 5. I'm queuing up these phoenix flowers to be harvested. Because once I have some medical beds, and possibly an alchemy station, I'll start go into combat. So here you're about to see the benefit of mood. So 8 in a dining room plus 5. Slept in an austere bedroom plus 2.5. Right? And the more... they start to get mental breaks when the dip's too low. So it's really good to provide good mood for them. So this here is for our medical station. And I think I'm going to change the light color as a result. I'm going to have it be green. Alright, Shine On just got researched. Shine On allows you to make mana lanterns, but I don't have any mana crystals. Mana lanterns allows you to refill your mana, and it also produces light, which is nice. It produces moonlight rather than sunlight. An important difference, but still. So the next research we have is Boil and Bubble, allowing us to brew potions. And, Moxie is still working on the entrance ore. Let's go ahead and get the grill pot, though. I'd like to start making better foods. Also, this room is too dark. I just realized, because we have a void shroom spawning in it. So I'm going to have Moxie kill the void shroom, and then add one more light up here once I have Viscera for it. So here's the difference. Like, I just killed the void shroom, so this is respawning... another void shroom in 1.4 days, but this room is pitch black, so it's going to respawn in 21 hours. A much shorter time, given the light difference. So the grill pot. We do have a scullery now, so I'm going to remove that as a priority. The grill pot allows us to do some simple cooking. So bitter gruel or gutberry soup. So I am going to queue up 5 gutberry soups, which has a lower conviction penalty than eating gutberries raw, and bitter gruel, but I don't have any bitter rice being grown at the moment. So we're not going to be able to do any bitter gruel right now. And then this chest is going to be for those ingredients, and then also for the meals themselves. And if you raise the priority of the chest, it will prioritize the resources being stored here over other areas. So, contents, clear all. We're going to want bitter rice. We are going to want... carcass stew, also gutberries and gutberry soup. I'm also going to queue this up to only store 100 of each, rather than 1,000, so that it's not likely that the chest will end up with like 1,000 gutberries and nothing else, but it does prevent the chest from being overflowing with one specific resource over others. So the other thing that we can cook up here is carcass stew. And I'll cook up to 5 of those as well. So carcass stews require small carcasses, so small carcasses should be included in this chest as well. So animal parts, or rather, small carcass. Non-mage corpses, small carcass, and we'll do small carcasses into 10 instead of 100. Yeah, this other dining room wasn't 100% lit. I just don't have the viscera to queue up another torch at the moment. We are going to get a void shroom here in 1 hour. some very basic setup for now. I'd also want to collect gut berries and wood in order to do another repel fog ritual. So I'm going to queue up gut berries to be harvested at 5. And let's destroy that void shroom before it hurts anyone. Done. Alright, medical beds. So a nurse's station just needs 2 medical beds. Easy peasy. Now, if I take a look at priorities here, Azarun and Vidamortis can also repair, clean, ward, and attune, and all that stuff. So because they belong to this new group, they aren't going to go to classes anymore. Which is, like, oddly a good thing, because they'll help around the base. I don't have the iron to make an enchantophone. So that's another thing that I'm going to want to obtain, and I'm going to be obtaining that from combat. So, Matic, mine up the remaining of this entrance ore. Maybe it will give me enough iron to get the enchantophone, probably. But a conservatory requires 2 enchantophones, so I'm going to need to go into the spine, because you only find iron in your underschool, and you only get to the underschool through combat, so, you know, chicken and the egg. If you want more stuff, more services, more loot, more everything, you're going to need to venture deeper and where it is more dangerous. I also want to queue up another repel fog, so getting the gut berries and wood together for the repel ritual. So I need, I have everything I need. Perfect. Alright, this is going to need a 3rd torch. But once the 2nd bed is built and the torch is built, the nurse's station will be done. I am not going to queue up any more research so that Guitar Lilin does something other than research. And that just unlocked the alchemist station. Again, I don't have the iron or ectoplasm for it. But that will allow us to brew up health and mana potions. So that we can, you know, keep safe. Now, these beds are fueled with water in order to help accelerate healing. And I'm going to tell them to recharge the beds at 60% water. But the nurse's station is now done. And that was the sort of, like, threshold that I set for myself in order to go into the underschool and do dangerous things. So once I repel the fog a little bit more, that's where we're headed. This time, Azarun, you'll do the repel. So they have done font wardening once each. I also need to set someone to cook, and I'm going to set Moxie up to be our dedicated cook. So the reason I like to... One of the reasons to get a fire mage really early on, besides that they're good in combat, is they're also the requirement for cooking, which is a very necessary thing to provide to advance technologically. Did we reveal... Ooh. Here's another interesting crystal. So I'm going to have Manic race out there before the fog overtakes it. And now we are stockpiling gutberry soups and carcass stews so that the students can eat. Oh, but Matic, you are starving and upset, so go back and recover. The deeper into the fog you go, The biome changes and the resources change, so we're starting to see things like honey drop bushes and mandrakes, which are needed for more advanced things. But we are all set up to go dungeoneering tomorrow. Let me update the priority. I just need to build the conservatory now. After I build the conservatory, the next thing that might be... So, just to show you, research early on costs like, you know, a few hundred, right? 500 or 400. Eventually, it costs thousands or tens of thousands. So it's important to also build a place to research more quickly. So a mage's tower is a pretty reasonable thing to do, and that requires a certain, you know, preset of requirements. So in this case, elevated and lofted. Lofted means taller than it is wide, and elevated means there's nothing below it. So I'm going to want a... and also pristine, but that's pretty easy to fulfill. The Mage's Hermitage, I don't really care for, and the requirements are a lot higher, so they're a lot harder to build one. Now, one of the other issues with cooking is the spatter. I don't need to worry about the mess down here, because oozes and gremlins can't spawn down here, but as I cook in this scullery, the grime will attract... It's 15% filthy. At 20% filthy, a ooze will spawn once a day. So I'm going to need to make sure to keep that room relatively clean to avoid oozes, because oozes will start damaging things. What is pristine? Pristine is no negative luxury. So if you take a look here, like these torches have a negative luxury, so these rooms are not pristine. And because I only have access to the basic torches, all of my buildings are not pristine as a result. The other thing that might be nice to do is if a mage gets knocked out, they go to death's door and can get recovered, but they can only get recovered if I have wormweed pods. So before I go into the dungeons, not that I think I'm going to get knocked out, but getting some wormweed pods ahead of time and stockpiling said wormweed pods, you know, in the nurses' station so that we have access to them for quick resurrections is kind of nice. Also, we filled a whole bunch of stuff in this chest, but I didn't want it there, so I'm going to clear all. Clear all is going to summon some gremlins, because now there's a bunch of clutter here. So what I'm going to do is, Moxie, instead of harvesting the wormweed pods, I need you to put this stuff away, because as it is cluttered, a gremlin will spawn in 11 hours. Because this chest here was just for potions. So that we have a dedicated area for potions, so if I want to heal, I know where to go. So Moxie, just keep storing stuff so that we don't end up with, Here, I'm going to high priority haul you, emergency haul you. Oh, stop doing that. So we can store this stuff down below. And you can see the clutter is now not cluttered, so no gremlins will spawn. Or not cluttered enough, rather. Oh, yeah, and one of the things that got in there was a shadow nut tree. 9 of them. So I'm just going to stick the shadow nut trees outside, because we don't have any valid place to store them, and I don't want them just sitting on the ground forever. So I'm just going to stick them outside where they will get decayed by the rain. Shared a bed with Medic, plus 10, and that lasts for 5.5 hours, and, yeah. Ate in a dining room, slept in a bedroom, bunch of positive effects. So now that everyone's had their breakfast, and cleaned up a little grime, let's go dungeoneering. So we need iron, and the spine here has stone and iron, and we need... How much iron do we currently have? Let's check. So over here, I have 25 iron. that is enough for... It's not enough for the enchantophons for the entire conservatory. So each enchantophone requires 25, so I need at least 25 more iron in order to build a conservatory. So one spine alone is not enough. I'm going to have to do at least 2. But we probably won't want to introduce time to regen between. So how to lay them out? Water is stronger in the back row. So the blue is the front row and the yellow is the back row. Guitar Lily has very low HP, so I'm going to put her also in the back row. Matic is a tank, definitely needs to be in the front row with Earth Magic. And then Vita Mortis is a Vivified and has a huge HP pool, so also front row. I'm going to tell them to fill their magic before the battle. And let's go. First fight. Also, it was worth noting, Moxie cannot participate. Moxie can hunt, but not fight. Because Moxie doesn't have an HP pool. Alright. So, enemies. It's turn-based, and if you look at the top of the screen, you can see the turns. And the turns is determined by the base speed of the characters. So this is where speed stats come in play. One second. But to talk a little bit about theory crafting, power, for the most part, outside of Earth Magic, is basically the most important stat for combat. Power determines the strength at which your spells hit. So, for instance, Guitar Lily's Lightning Bolt Tier 2 has a base damage of 25. Because she has a power modifier of 28, it does a total of 53 damage because of the added power that she has. Speed is useful up until a point. Being able to take your turn before an enemy is great, but if your enemy speed is like, let's say 40, the difference between 41 and 5,000 speed is nothing, right? Like, it doesn't matter how much faster than you are of your opponent, just that you are faster. So when it comes down to stats, power is like definitely number one. Power is your combat strength. HP pool and mana pool can be very heavily affected by the relics that you attune. So although they're useful, ideally you're not face tanking your enemies. You're using Earth Magic and potions and things like that to prevent yourself from face tanking. The other thing to note is, so we do have the turn order here, and the next person that takes their turn is the Earth Mage, and that was very much by design. So in coming in, I rolled a Lightning Mage that was powerful, so that I could fight effectively, and an Earth Mage that was fast, so the Earth Mage can cast Taunt and Armor before the enemies take their turn. And then there's also the enemy's HP and their abilities. So the Belcher will hit for 25 damage, and the Lantern Keeper will hit for 35. And the Lantern Keeper also attacks, by default, the strongest enemy, and applies minus 10 power to the target and plus 10 to a random ally. So if I don't do anything, the Lantern Keeper is going to try to attack Guitar Lily, because Guitar Lily's the most powerful, to buff the Belcher and nerf her. But my initial target's going to be the Belcher for damage. Now, the Lightning Bolt abilities are a little special in that they can target anyone on the battlefield, but most abilities, like Smash, for instance, can't. I can only smash the Belcher. I can't smash the Lantern Keeper because the Lantern Keeper's in the back row. I have to clear the first row first. Instead, I'm going to cast Earth Armor. So one of the reasons why I don't think Earth Magic power matters all that much is Earth Armor adds 60 armor to absorb damage to the caster and plus 2 taunt, which means it taunts 2 attacks to the caster. The reason why power is not so important on Earth Magic is power doesn't affect this ability. And when I cast it, it doesn't matter how powerful he is, it's going to be the same 60 armor all the time. So now the Lantern Keeper attacks the tank absorbs it, and I also had, Azaroon has the special trial of Reaper, meaning that they want the killing blows. So when possible, I'm going to give Azaroon the killing blow on these enemies. So the Belcher has 22 health, and of course Soak does 30 damage. Also, if you read here, there is 10 extra damage, or 20 extra damage from attacking the back row. So if Azaroon was in the front row, this torrent would only do 10 damage, but water mages are really powerful in the back row. And boom, killing blow. Fire mages have a chance to crit. So fire mages burn through their mana pool, generally speaking, very fast, but they do a lot of damage when they're doing it. And of course, we're going to attack the Lantern Keeper. It's the only target left. Vengeance gives you retaliation, but the Lantern Keeper... So retaliation is really helpful if an enemy has multi-attacks. There's some enemies that will strike you like 3 times, and then retaliation would be a good call, because for each strike, that is a retaliation. But I'd rather just cast directly. 27 damage. Alright, I'm going to have... So, Maddox still has 1 taunt and 25 armor left from the last time he casted. The Lantern Keeper does 35 damage. Right? Or 45 now, because they're buffed. So obviously I'm going to recast armor. It's very easy to fill up your magic after a fight. You just go to your mana font and fill your magic. Filling your life takes a while, and also when you're injured, they're upset. The other ability that Azaroon has is called Soak. Soak lowers the power and speed of the enemy, and in this case, I am going to hit the Lantern Keeper with Soak, slowing them down, which changes their attack order and lowers their damage as well. I'm also doing that just so that I can... I don't want to bolt this Lantern Keeper, so in this case, I am going to pass. And I'm passing so that Azaroon can get the killing blow. So now this Lantern Keeper is doing 38 damage, and Maddox has 40 armor. So I'm going to hit the Lantern Keeper with Smash instead. And then the next turn is Azaroon with the killing blow. So now Azaroon has 2 out of 3 of the Reaper requirements fulfilled. I didn't take a single point of damage, which is great, so that I can get back into combat much, much faster. But everyone was already max level, so there was really no XP bonus for that fight. But if we take a look at Azaroon, Reaper, I've now landed 2 out of the 3 killing blows. Perfect. Alright, before I do anything else, I want, as I said, to get the conservatory up. One of the other requirements of the conservatory is that the conservatory needs to be a very pretty building. So I'm going to need to open up the research and get something that adds beauty. So there's a bunch of things that add beauty, but a candelabra is like a relatively cheap thing that adds beauty. That I can build like a whole lot of, because it's just wood and phoenix flowers, and it adds 3 beauty per candelabra that I build. And then also, the current torches I'm using remove beauty, so it's even further of a net positive. So this is the next research I'm going to queue up. But I want to get back in the fight, because I need more iron. So, the lava mine to the left has 70 iron. Let's go do that. No one got hurt, so I'm going to have them fill their mana back up at the mana font and get back into the next fight. I do have a second rug. The conservatory has a beta requirement of 25, and right now this is 0. So like even having a second rug, a rug adds 4. I would be way off of goal, which is why I want the candelabras. All right. Oh, speaking of multi-hit, this wing cutter attacks twice. So it will do 21 damage twice, meaning that likely Maddox is going to get a little hurt this fight. But, you know, that's fine. They'll recover. What I'm going to do is asynchronously clear this enemies. I'm going to have Guitar Lilin target the Batkin in the back, because 2 rounds of casting on the Batkin will kill it. The Lantern Keeper is a lot tankier at 190, but doesn't do as much damage as the Batkin, so I want to clear the Batkin first. So here's some damage. Yep, took 12 damage. Batkin's dead. And then after this fight, of course, Matic will have to recover in the nurse's office for those injuries. So now we're just trying to wear down the Lantern Keeper so that Azarun can get the killing blow, filling the requirement of Reaper. And I just have to be careful about... Oop, I should have armored up. Oh well. I just got to be careful about how much damage I do to it because it's so close to death. So in this case, I'm just going to pass. And killing club. Done. Azarun completed Reaper. And now I have a whole bunch of iron, stone, and also Gnosis shards to mine up. Which is really important because Gnosis shards is going to allow me to summon stronger students. With Azarun and Vitamoris both basically ready to graduate, because I'm not going to be able to do the Dance with Friends or Group Learner, I need to build a ritual room and a ritual spot to actually do the graduations. So ritual sigil requires 7 more viscera. So I'm going to have Guitar Lil and Azarun and Vitamortis, or Azarun and Vitamortis hunt. But now that we have the Enchantophone, they can also fulfill their recreation requirements on it. So Moxie, I'm going to have you high priority hunt, and the students, the initiates, will haul the materials where it belongs. So the current goal is to build a conservatory and also an assembly hall. Because I don't just need the ritual sigil, I also need total luxury for an assembly hall to do the graduation ceremonies. So the assembly hall doesn't really have any other requirements. For now, I'm going to put it here. And then Matic, you should be sleeping. Also, this chest is wrong, so clear all. And plant parts of wormreed pods only to, let's say, 100. Or actually, let's say to 30. I don't want to... In fact, what I should have done is to use the tiny chests instead. So I'm going to move this chest down here and change its settings, and then use a tiny chest. Because a tiny chest only has like 1 stack of things, and I don't need the capacity for a larger chest. Somatic is now sleeping, recovering health in the medical beds. You don't recover health by sleeping, you only recover mana and fatigue by sleeping, so you have to sleep in a medical bed to recover health. And then the bonus of the nurse's station is the medical rest recovers more HP. So if we take a look at Matic here, medical resting is 3.75% per hour. The water-powered healing, because the bed is charged up, is another 1.88, and then the nurse's office bonus is another 1.88. So the higher level medical station that you have, the faster you recover. Right. We did want a second Enchantophone, even though we're not that close to getting a conservatory. And then, the other thing to consider is it might be possible to have at least a mage's study, which is lofted and pristine, in this room, like next to the graduation room. So the graduation room is going to be a little tight. That might be too tight. Major study, lofted and pristine. What were the other goals? 1 secretary and 4 scholar. You know, it could actually be... So let's see. If I put the ritual sigil here... I'm going to squish this room here. Basically, most of this design is going to change over time as I gain access to new technologies and require new rooms. So the ritual room is going to be really squished so that I can put a research room there. So basic workshops just need to have a research station. Very easy to fulfill that. What I'm hoping to do is like at least a major study. So lofted and pristine. And is this lofted? So this is 4 or 6 by 8. Yeah, it will be lofted. Here's the second enchantaphone. Good use of our iron. And we're now researching candelabras. Alright, Matic, you are spell misfiring, so I'm gonna, medical rest you. When you're wounded, or when you have really low conviction, you will start to fail your spell casting, which means failing to do everything. Constructing, mining, cooking, etc., everything. So low conviction, or morale, or low health, and you become a lot less effective. Good. Maddox is fully healed. And he is trying to gain Gnosis shards so that I can potentially summon better students. Ooh, a spectral rift. So once you start to go into the Underschool, you will get attacked by things on the surface. So this is this will last for 24 hours. In 4 hours, it will spawn a torch snuffer. And a torch snuffer is a ghost which will go around smashing your torches. So I'm going to, now that Matic is fully healed, jump into this next battle, killing it before it starts breaking torches. Because I have 4 hours to do that. How far can I build in the overhang? Literally as far as you see me go. So in terms of damage, this one douses, so 25 damage, drains 20 mana. This one deals corrosion. So the Messy Meddler, I think, is the most dangerous, as it gives a dot, and then this one does a chain attack, but it's really low damage. So I'm going to go after the Messy Meddler first. Now that Azrune already has his Reaper fulfillment required, I don't really need to worry about who gets the killing blow. I don't care. Alright, Azrune or Vita Morris is going to get dotted now of corrosion. Because Maddox's tank ability only taunts 2 attacks, but not 3. Doesn't really matter because that Meddler is now dead. Are there piercing spells? Yes. There's lots of spells in this game. We are very low-level mages, so we only have access to very low-level spells. Technically, the Chest Smasher has a piercing spell, but it doesn't work if I block it. Oh, a crit! Nice! The Fire Mages have a 50% chance to double their damage, and it's just proc. Alright, fight's over. And the Spectral Rift is closed. So you asked about overhang. Here is the support. So this is only 1% supported, meaning I can't build any further out than this. Same here. There are a lot of researches that allows you to increase support, if you're wondering. There we go. The tiny chest for wormweed pods. Alright, so conservatory, assembly hall, and mage study. Does Vita and Azarun share a room? No, then this doesn't count as a room. Anything in the inner school doesn't count as rooms, if you're wondering. So they don't share one. My Gnosis shards are up to 31. In order to summon a gifted student, it costs 45. That's kind of like a loftier goal, but would be a pretty good one. Oh, that ritual sigil is going to need to be moved back to the back wall, but that's fine. And here's some smoke pearls. So in killing the torch snuffer, we also got smoke pearls, which is a useful crafting material as well. So this ritual sigil allows us to graduate students once they have a path to it, hire the students as staff instead, dismiss, retire, and expel. Retire would be for your faculty. Dismiss and expel is not good things to do. They come with penalties, whereas graduate, hire, and retire have bonuses. I don't necessarily want to retire my people just yet. We're kind of understaffed, but just wanted to explain the differences between those. So here's the recreation hour. I'll put a rug in there. I mean, it won't make much of a difference. It's still only a luxury of 4. It's a work in progress. And now, as you can see there, they're not with the -10 morale for no recreation, which is good. Now, one of the problems of keeping students that are fully trained for a long time is eventually their learning will drop to 0. Azarun's learning is a lot higher than Vita Morris's because Azarun recently got the Reaper trial finished, which counts as learning. But what I'm trying to say is you have to be careful keeping students for too long because it can severely affect their conviction as a result of them feeling purposeless. Them basically being like servants of your school. So before I graduate Azarun and Vita Mortis, I also want to queue up new wands to replace them as students, because once my population goes down to 2, if I get attacked by something, I'm not really going to be able to defend myself if I only have 2 people in the fight rather than 4 people. So before I pull the trigger, I want to build a replacement. Thank you for tuning in to Mind Over Magic Jade Dragon, which originally streamed live on Twitch October 8th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow mages.